Hooks, hooks, and more hooks. How do we know what ones to choose? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hi there, welcome to the Bass Fishing Life. I'm your host, Steve Rogers. Make sure before we get into the video that you hit the subscribe button, punch that notification bell, like the video, leave a comment. Thank you so much. Well, probably the first thing you're noticing is, where's the hat? Yeah, this is the first time that you've seen me without a hat here on the channel, but you know what? It's raining, it's nasty. So we're back inside our vlogging studio here today. Well, one thing that I wanted to talk about was hooks. And how do we know what hooks to use when? The hook aisle at a big retail tackle store can be absolutely overwhelming. Even for expert anglers, advanced anglers, it seems like every day there is a new hook coming out. What's the purpose for the hook? Do I have the right hook? So it can be a confusing topic for seasoned anglers. If you're a beginning bass angler, novice angler, or even a hobbyist angler, the hook aisle can be darn right overwhelming. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I want to approach it from a couple different angles. I want to talk about specific hooks for specific baits for some of the more advanced anglers out there. But I'm going to start off with just keeping it very simple and 3 types of hooks that you can use and that will meet 99% of your bass fishing needs. And then as you grow as an angler, you can start to get more specific in the types of hooks that you use for specific baits. So the first 3 that I want to talk about that are going to cover most situations are your regular offset worm hook, your straight shank worm hook, and your wide gap hook. Now these 3 are going to cover just about every situation that you probably are going to run across. Let's go ahead and start off with what is most likely the most popular hook out there, and that is your wide gap hook. Most anglers that I see use this particular hook. I use this hook a lot, and the reason that this wide gap is in here is so when you have bulkier plastics that have greater thickness to them, you can clear that plastic for your hook set. Now, one of the things that you need to keep in mind for a hook like this is the angle of your hook set. I believe that these types of hooks, this one and your regular offset worm hook, okay, this one's not the wide gap, this one is. I believe these types of hooks are better suited for horizontal hook sets where you're sweeping it to the side. When you bring this up on a straight vertical hook set, sometimes this particular distance between here and that the angle that this comes up, I still hook a lot of fish this way, but sometimes I think that particular angle is not always the best for a vertical hook set. There's lots of opinions out there on this, and really the best thing to do is just try different hooks and see which one your hookup ratio is the best with. But this is a great hook for big bulky baits. It is a heavy wire hook designed for getting in that real thick nasty stuff, and you can use it. Usually rule of thumb is you're going to want to have a heavier stiffness or action rod and heavier line with heavier wire hooks, so this is good for that real beefy stuff. This here is more of a light wire offset worm hook. This one, a lot of anglers agree that this might be just the best Carolina rig bait out there. And if you take a look here compared to this one, when you've got your plastic set up here, the eye and the point of the hook are about in line. If you look at this one, the hook and the eye are not in line. There actually is a pretty good gap right there. So this one on a horizontal hook set, like on a Carolina rig, is really going to clear the plastic nicely. Okay, so this is a really, really good hook for, I believe, for those horizontal presentations. The third style of hook that I want to go over is your regular traditional straight shank hook. This one really has kind of fallen out of favor of anglers over the years. I mean, it used to be this is what you got, and it worked. And then as hooks become more specific for specific baits, this one is often forgotten. But this particular hook, the straight shank hook, I think probably has some of the best hookup ratios out there. And this type of a bait, like a worm, finesse worm, some of your baits that have a narrower body, this straight shank hook works really, really well. This is a very high percentage hook to use on baits like this. So make sure that in your tackle bag or your box in your boat that you have got some of these straight shank hooks, and I think you'll find that you're going to land way more fish with this. Now you may be asking, how do I know if my hook is a problem? And most of us assume that the hook is not right for the bait and a problem if we rear back and set the hook and we miss the fish. Usually the hook is a problem when that fish is on for a bit and then you get it up to the side of the boat or up to the bank and you see you got a 5-pounder on there, then it comes unbuttoned. That is when your hook is not getting proper penetration into the lip of the fish. When it fights for a while, but it just comes unbuttoned, especially on some of those bigger fish where that lip and that jawbone and just everything on that part of the fish is a little bit thicker and tougher. You need to have good penetration with those hooks. If you're getting a fish up to the side of the boat or close up to the bank and it's coming unbuttoned, odds are you could have a better hook for whatever technique or presentation that you are using. Now, some of the other hooks that I want to go over here, this one is a wide gap hook, and I've got actually a belly weight on here. This works really well for your swim baits, jerk baits, soft jerk baits, that type of stuff. So these keel weights or belly weights, you can buy hooks that have these already attached. I like to use the ones that I can go ahead and clip on here with the pliers because I can change them out quickly depending on the situation. But a wide gap hook is a really good choice there because the bait is much, much thicker through the body of the bait. This here is a light wire 2/0 hook, wide gap as well. And a light wire hook is going to be more in your finesse presentations with more medium light type of a rod, lighter line. There have been times when I've used hooks like this, the light wire hooks on drop shot rigs. Usually I'll take like a number 1, but I have used a 1/0 or a 2/0 before on that as well. But if I was using this particular one for a drop shot, I feel that there's some better choices. I don't know if I want with my hook in this type of horizontal presentation coming down at that angle. Okay, there are some specific drop shot hooks on the market that I think would be a better choice than this one, but this is a light wire hook. And then the last hook I want to show you, this one is a heavy wire hook, but this one is specifically designed for tube baits, the Texas Rig tube baits. And here is the difference. So I want to show you these two different heavy wire hooks. This one is your traditional wide gap, and I'm going to try to hold them so the eyes are perfectly horizontal. On this one, that hook point is still coming down. Okay, we have more of a Z bend up here in the eye, and look at the point of that. Okay, this one that is specifically designed for tube baits, the Texas Rig tube baits. So here I've got the eye horizontal, and look at this. This is perfectly horizontal as well. That is designed to lay on the back or the top of the tube. This type of one, this type of hook with this traditional wide gap, this point is going to bury down into the back of the tube a little bit. You're going to get better hook sets. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm referring to hooks that are designed for very specific baits. The only purpose of this one was designed to fish tube baits. So that is how detailed and how specific you can get in the bass fishing world with hooks. And we all know that hooks have gotten very expensive. It's not unusual to buy a pack of 5 hooks and be anywhere in that $5 to $7 range for 5 hooks. They're a lot of money. And because of that, usually our assortment of hooks is probably not as broad as it should be. We may have only 1 or 2 styles of hooks in there, 1 or 2 sizes. Because let's face it, you could hit $300 or $400 worth of hooks in an organizer box just like that. It's crazy how expensive these have gotten. It's because they have the black nickel finish on them, which is slicker for penetration. They have chemically sharpened hooks. I mean, hooks have come a long ways from this one here is just a traditional bronze hook that you could straighten out really easily. So the technology in hooks has greatly improved over the years, which is why the price has gone up. But like I said, if you want to keep it to just the 3 hooks, make sure that you have got a couple different sizes of a straight shank worm hook, a couple different sizes of an offset worm hook, and then a couple different sizes of your wide gap hook. And that's going to cover most of your fishing situations. And then as you expand your abilities as an angler, you can get specific wacky rig hooks. You can get specific drop shot hooks, circle hooks, tube hooks, swim bait hooks. I mean, like I said, you've seen the aisle. It's absolutely daunting. But I hope that this kind of Hook 101 video today gives you a basic introduction into hooks and what they're designed for. They're designed for different thicknesses of the plastic and for different types of rod and line combinations, light wire, heavy wire, all that type of stuff. If you have any specific questions, feel free. You can drop a question in our Facebook group. There's a lot of expert anglers in there that will be happy to help you out, or you can drop a comment down below. Hey, don't forget to go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you're going to change their life for the bass fishing life. I'm your host, Steve Rogers.